social disease, which is part of the old world, that world that Mark was describing, that civilization, this is one of the consequences of that. This social disease is a question of, Baha'u'llah calls this estrangement. It's a process of annihilation. You detach yourself from life. You isolate yourself. This is a disease particularly among younger generation. The degree, for example, of youth, adolescents that do not communicate, literally do not interact, is increasing very much. I'm not talking about the love they have for video games and computers. This is one of the elements. But in reality, in the new generation learns more and more to do not communicate with others. He or she lives for himself, even with the parents, even in the school. And this is a big problem. Really, it's a social problem that worries a lot of people. Even youth, notwithstanding that we look at the images of the discos and the big concerts that are hundreds and thousands of youth are there, nevertheless, a great majority of the youth do not communicate. But we have this question of estrangement, this, as Baha'u'llah says, or annihilation and separation. We have it in our families. How many people we know? The husband comes home, gets a plate of food and sits in front of TV and doesn't talk to anyone, does not converse. We have this problem within the families. It's a social disease. It's a consequence of losing identity, losing the sense of the project of life. Do you think that we Baha'is are not intoxicated by this? We are not part of it. We suffer that. So, one of the elements that I believe that really protect the Baha'is from this kind of subtle social diseases is the effort we have to make to move, to go towards people. Home visits are not only practice. They are not only to go and talk about the faith to someone or practice reciting the prayer. It's the beginning of creating spiritual connection with people. We need to become, as Baha'u'llah himself has asked, like a breeze which moves from one space to another, free from everything. This is the way Baha'u'llah wants us to be. We are not Baha'is who settle at home, and we are learning gradually through the process that we get out of our homes, we get out of our ghettos, we get out of our this monocentric and sometimes really rigid, depressing order and or whatever you call it, bureaucracy of the Baha'i community, and we gain spiritual vision of communicating with people, being with people, talking to the soul of the people, learning people. This learning to become open, flexible, available, change your state of solidity, because this is really, we are subject to become spiritually arteriosclerotic. I'm sorry to say it. If you don't move, you lose your capacities, your spiritual capacity. So movement is an essential element. So through this path of the profound transformation, the Baha'i learns even to interact with people, to have courage, to be open, to not be afraid, to learn from the other people the way they are, to be curious. Not all of us are like that. And more we go ahead in this extremely aggressive world, the conditions, negative conditions that the material world is imposing become stronger and stronger. So I love the families that father and mother and the children, they move from one home to another to go and see their friends, go see the Baha'i friends, go and talk with them. Why? Because it's part of the Baha'i education that our children are servants of humanity. They need to communicate with others. They need to know others. We don't create boxes in which we create people who are functionaries of banks or professors of university, or they are technicians of computer, and they live in their realm. So this is one of the aspects of really breaking a mold which has been somehow generated in these last years. So we learn. We are being transformed by the word. We learn to share the word. We go to share a prayer. We are going to share the love of Baha'u'llah. We are moved by this love. We go and share this love with others. Prayer is life. Prayer is spiritual connection with the beloved one. You know. So when you go and share prayer, when you begin to initiate a regular devotional meeting somewhere, you know that you have created a center for the diffusion, regular, systematic diffusion of the Word of God.